Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to look at this. This is a 2004 Scion X8. Just some specs. The X8 is a 5-door subcompact hatchback that's marketed in the US from 2004 to 2006. And this thing, the Scion brand, of course, is a Toyota. It's got a 1.5 liter engine. It makes about 103 to 108 horsepower. And this particular one has got a 5-speed manual transmission, but you could also get it with a 4-speed automatic. This particular model in 2004 sold 24,000 copies. It started in 2003 and it only sold about 4,000 in the US. 2004 it picked up to 24,000, in 2005 28,000, and it leveled off at around 2006 with 32,000. In the day, this car cost about $12,000, which is pretty cheap compared to today's cars. Nowadays, an entry-level car costs about $24,000, $25,000. These cars are rated pretty high. As far as durability, it's a Toyota, and these are known to last quite a bit of time. I believe that most of Kelley Blue Book rates this at around 4.8, close to 5 stars. And another reason you'd get this is because of the incredible gas mileage. In an automatic, you'll be getting about 30 miles to the gallon. But on a 5-speed manual, since you can control the revs and the tach, you're basically getting over 30 miles per gallon. I get close to 40 miles per gallon on this. What are some of the competitors? Back in 2004, you had a few cars from other manufacturers that were comparable. You had like the Ford Focus, but in reality, the closer competitor to this is the Honda Fit and the Toyota Matrix. The Toyota Matrix is a larger station wagon type of hatchback, and it doesn't get as good gas mileage. So the direct competitor is the Honda Fit. Another competitor would be the BMW Mini Cooper. But because of reliability issues, I don't recommend getting a Mini Cooper other than the styling. The styling is awesome. I've driven quite a few Mini Coopers and they are fun. First of all, whoever got this did quite a bit of a number. They replaced the bumper and you can see the grille is missing. There's some cracks here. It's got the hooks here, and this has kind of faded, or they painted it. And at the same time, you have the usual headlight aging. So you basically would need to sand this and clear it all up. But this is pretty normal in an old car. And it's got quite a few dents here and there. As far as the styling, I do like it. I like the hatchback style. It's extremely handy. And there is some water going into this left headlight quite a bit. So I'm going to have to pull this out and clear it up. Not exactly sure how it's coming in. There's probably a hole somewhere, and that's leading it inside. You can see the bumper is pretty beat on this. The grille is gone. As you can see, the car strikes quite a nice profile. It looks small, but inside it is quite roomy. And this one does have 4 doors, which is really good. And it's got more space than what looks like it would have. Going down here, I'm not sure exactly why they put this on here, but it's some sort of reflector that's already kind of aged. So it doesn't look great. And this, the trim, looks like it was it had another one of these little lips, but it fell off. I'd probably just remove all of this so it looks a little bit better. Still have a little bit of thread on the tire, but at the same time, the front tires need to be rotated. The rears have plenty, but this definitely needs a little bit more. Wheels look nice. These look like new hubcaps. This is probably one of the nicest things. It's the hatchback styling that you have in cars. The emblem did fall off. It's still got the sticky glue. And you can see that the bumper has been hit. It's cracked. It needs a new bumper. And it is not a good looking car from the outside, but look at this. Really handy to have. The struts are still working, and you have plenty of space, including a spare tire back here. So what we have here, we have the seats that do fold into the back, but they're not latched in properly. I'm gonna have to work on that. You see how bouncy they are. But other than that, it's got plenty of space, you can access the shocks really easy on this to replace them. But the shocks on them are pretty good. Get into the back seat. Easy to get in and out. And they do have automatic windows and automatic locks. And they do have a child safety switch. So pretty easy. There's a hook in the front seat and on the passenger seat, so you can put like a bag or something. You have one cup holder right over there, and that's about it. 3 people will fit back here, but it's really like for very small people. Right here you have a child lock, so you flip it down, they're not going to be able to open the door from the inside. Usually this material does hold up pretty well to scratches, but there's quite a few scratches on the door. The driver's door, you do have a automatic windows. You can lock the other windows from being open, unlock. And one thing to note is that the switches for the driver is bad, so I'm gonna have to replace that. This is a 5-speed manual transmission, so you have the racing pedals right there. Right here, you have the dial for the instrument gauge, how much light you want, and your mirror adjuster, left and right. Then you have turbo right here. I'm familiar with Scion and the Toyota Echo and even the Prius. They actually made this pretty empty, and they put the instruments on the middle. At first you might think, oh, that's kind of like a bummer because I like to have everything here. But at the same time, it is very easy to see through your way, so it makes it really nice. And it doesn't bother me that the speed and the tax is over there. You notice that there's some residue here and some puncture marks because they probably put a way of mounting their phone here. So in a way, that is nice that there is space for mounting a phone. And the steering wheel does move up and down, but it doesn't telescope towards you. And one thing that you have a Android unit with navigation here. It's missing the little side covers. So this is actually not the right size. They needed a size a little bit bigger, but they got this instead. And then you have the vents. These are really functional. They're not the prettiest, but I've seen this style in 90s Toyotas. They do this on all their budget machines. So it is really handy and it works really well. What you have here is a nice 5-speed manual transmission on it. It is so sweet. This is really well done. It's easy to get into the gears. It is a little bit on the heavier side, but it makes driving a breeze. Clutch on it is fine. The motor on it is fine. You do have 2 cup holders at the bottom. You have a place here to put your phone. You have an ashtray, 12-volt socket. You have a place to put your phone with a little carpet, which is nice, and it also has an interior light that lights up when you turn on the car. And then you have your AC dial and your fan speed, and then the direction, and the through or circulation hazards button, rear defroster, and then AC. AC does not work in this car and needs to be recharged. But this is something that I'll say about a lot of Hondas and Toyotas, is that when you pick cloth, the cloth holds up really well. It's not the best quality, but they're always in really good shape. All right, this thing comes with a key, only one, but at the same time, I have a Prius with a key fob. That thing always needs to get their batteries, and it's like the push start thing. If that push start goes bad, it's much more expensive to fix. This is the way to go if you want something simple. So you have to push in the clutch and it starts right up. Now let's look at the dash. The dash, pretty simple. You have a speedometer right there, and there's the needle. Then you have the fuel gauge. Luckily for you, this thing does not use a lot of fuel, so it's not like having a V8 where you see it slowly go down. And then over there you have a tachometer and a bunch of dummy lights. You can see there's a blue light, which means the car is still cold. And you do have a little button here. Push it for trip and then you see it has 131,000 miles, which is not a lot on this car. That's the reason the motor and transmission are so good on it, is that it's really unused. And it's unfortunate that the body has been hit in the front and the rear, but at the same time, this car would make a great car for doing food delivery or just commuting. Notice that there's also a light over here, so when you open it, and there's a light at the pedal side as well. So let's open up the hood. So there's the engine, nice and quiet. Plenty of room to work. So if you are familiar with any Toyota, you'll know that these motors are put on a lot of cars, and you just can't go wrong with them. They're extremely economical, extremely reliable, and they'll have plenty of life left. So that is the Scion XA. Really cute car. I'm a big fan of the hatchback. Every time you go to Europe, you just rent a lot of these. Yeah, nice car. Time to take this thing for a test drive and see how she handles. The car drives surprisingly well for the amount of miles it has. It's got 130,000 miles and very comfortable. The beauty of these type of cars, the XA, XB, is that they sit very high up. So it almost feels like a SUV. Not quite as tall, but very comfortable to get in and out. Same thing with the Toyota Echo. I really like these cars that are a little bit higher up. If you're familiar with any of the 90s cars, like a Toyota Paseo, a Corolla from like the 2000s, early 2000s, they are really low, and you know, sometimes as you get older, your knees get a little bit weaker, your bones get a little bit tender, and what happens is that it's harder to get in and out, but not so in these cars. And right now I'm about to hop on I-95 on it, and it's really smooth. The engine is super smooth on it, and I want to see how well this thing does. I did fill it up. It was a little hard to fill. I think it was just the pump, but look at this. I'm in 5th gear. It's holding really well. I'm at 55. This is not a fast car, but it does get really good gas mileage. Really good gas mileage. Probably one of the best non-hybrid cars that you can get like close to 40 miles to the gallon. I think the last one I have had that was a Toyota that had really good gas mileage was the Toyota Echo. And that thing, if you drove it, especially with a 5-speed transmission, you're talking about getting 45 miles to the gallon if you drive it efficiently. And this one should be about the same. That 5-speed manual transmission is buttery smooth. Like there's no hesitation at all with it. Well guys, that is a look into the Scion XA. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.